Aloha, dear friends. We have been asked to study some very specific letters for the American Baha'i community to have a clearer understanding of how to play our part in making the world a better place today, right now. And one of those letters is the December 25th, 2018 letter, which is known as the 80th anniversary of the Advent of Divine Justice. And if you would like to listen to me read the Advent of Divine Justice, I have a link to the playlist down below. For now, let's dive into this letter from the National Spiritual Assembly of the Baha'is of the United States. To the American Baha'i community, dearly loved friends and co-workers. 80 years ago on this date, Christmas, Shoghi Effendi, the beloved guardian of the Baha'i faith, addressed a letter to the believers across the North American continent, calling on them to arise with fresh consecration to fulfill the goals of the recently launched 7-year plan. Later, to be published in book form under the title The Advent of Divine Justice, the letter describes in clear and compelling language the gravity of the challenge to which they were being summoned and the vital importance of their actions not only to the victorious conclusion of the plan, but beyond it to the ultimate establishment of the unified, peaceful, and just world order envisaged by Baha'u'llah. Vital importance of their actions to the ultimate establishment of the unified, peaceful, and just world order envisaged by Baha'u'llah. Since that time, the historic missive has seized the imaginations of every succeeding generation of American believers. Posterity will no doubt come to recognize it as having been of incalculable consequence to an understanding of the essentials of our faith and to its growth and development throughout the world. The advent of divine justice is suffused with a spirit of loving encouragement. In it, the guardian describes the immortal deeds through which the Baha'is of North America had, by the time of the letter's writing in 1938, already done much to advance the faith. Confidently recalls Abdu'l-Baha's shining promise of still greater triumphs yet to come. Reaffirms the decisive contribution America will make to the establishment of the most great peace, and calls upon us to continue heroically to impart our full share to the tasks required to achieve the great destiny ordained for this nation by Baha'u'llah. Yet Shoghi Effendi makes it clear that it was not because of any intrinsic superiority, whether spiritual or material, that the Blessed Beauty chose America for such a sacred mission. On the contrary, he tells us in no uncertain terms that just as Persia was chosen as the dawning place of his cause because of the thick clouds of religious fanaticism, intellectual torpor, and moral decay with which it was enshrouded, America has been entrusted with the divine plan for its worldwide growth owing to the patent evils deeply embedded in its society. The ailing condition of both countries demonstrates in greater measure the efficacy and healing power of Baha'u'llah's revelation. Reflecting further on Abdu'l-Baha's uncompromising assessment of the ills that afflict the American nation, and to an extent its Baha'is, the Guardian elucidates at length the spiritual prerequisites for success in our efforts to disseminate the faith's teachings. Let the reader judge whether these are any less relevant today than 8 decades ago. the spiritual prerequisites for success in our efforts. Dearly beloved friends, a rectitude of conduct in all its manifestations offers a striking contrast to the deceitfulness and corruption that characterize the political life of the nation and of the parties and factions that compose it. A holiness and chastity that are diametrically opposed to the moral laxity and licentiousness which defile the character of a not inconsiderable portion of its citizens. An interracial fellowship completely purged from the curse of racial prejudice which stigmatizes the vast majority of its people. These are the weapons which the American believers can and must wield in their double crusade, first to regenerate the inward life of their own community, and next to assail the long-standing evils that have entrenched themselves in the life of their nation. Okay, so that's such an amazing paragraph. Okay, so a rectitude of conduct, and he gives some examples, if I'm understanding this correctly. So, deceitfulness and corruption that characterize the political life of the nation, parties and factions that compose it. So, to manifest a rectitude of conduct that is strikingly different than these what characterizes the political life of the nation. And then a holiness and chastity that is diametrically opposed to the moral laxity and licentiousness that characterizes a lot of people, a not inconsiderable portion of its citizens. And then an interracial fellowship completely purged of racial prejudice. The American Baha'i community has been striving to fulfill, and that was another thing, the double crusade. It is to purge the inward life of our own community, and next, to assail long-standing evils that have entrenched themselves in the life of their nation. So we clean our room first, and next. Like they go hand in hand, but it does say next. We work on helping the world first. Regenerate the inward life of our own community. Wow. Okay, dear friends, I'm going to cut this video and start a part 2.